Hey man, you think we got enough candy for the trick-or-treaters?
Yeah, man, I think I got a pretty good selection. Lots of chocolate bars, fruit gummies, all the stuff the kids love.
Alright, I'll just,
Hey, there is one problem.
Don't you fucking dare.
I am all out of bubble gum.
I hate you so much.
There were some movies, terrible movies, movies so awful, no one would touch. Then came a Matthew, sad little Matthew. Matthew decided these movies to watch. For every good movie, there's at least 10 bad. Matthew gonna drag himself through the crap to find the worst ones there are to be had.
Today's episode, Queen of the Damned. Hello, boils, ghouls, and non-binary creatures of the night. I am called Matt, and welcome to the final installment of Metal-ween. And you know what the most metal monster is? Vampires. Think about it. They drink blood, they can't go in churches, they sleep in coffins, and sometimes they start rock bands.
A love story that rocks, like a bat out of hell. Rockula.
Does anybody go bowling anymore?
Hell yeah, Rockula. A vampire who starts a rock and roll group right before Halloween. Oh wait, this script isn't for Rockula. It's for the 2002 film Queen of the Damned. Oh. Queen of the Damned is an interesting movie, to say the least. See, there was this hit series of books called The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. Warner Bros. Got the film rights to the first 3 books and made 1994's Interview with a Vampire, which garnered quite a bit of critical praise and even 2 Oscar nominations. Surely Warner would want to follow up on that film as quickly as possible, right? Nope! 8 years later, and they still hadn't turned the last 2 books into anything, so they rushed this film through production. A maneuver I like to call the Fantastic Four. In fact, this is such a rushed job, they turned what was supposed to be 2 books into 1 movie, which I suppose is better than turning 1 book into 2 movies. They couldn't even get Interview with a Vampire's all-star cast back. So instead of Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Antonio Banderas, Kirsten Dunst, and Christian Slater, we get Stuart Townsend, who is in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Katie from Wet Hot American Summer, Vincent Perez, who isn't famous, and finally famous R&B singer Aaliyah. What kind of prick only goes by their first name? She is decidedly the least metal musician to show up in a Metal-ween film. The 8-year wait for this film hurt it in other ways as well. You see, in 1994, vampire films weren't really a big thing, and Interview with a Vampire kind of set the tone for a few other movies. But you know what came out between that film and this one? Fucking Blade. Suddenly every horror movie wanted to be Blade, and it's not like the people making Queen of the Damned had any integrity, so of course they were gonna follow suit. But this film is supposed to be a follow-up to Interview with a Vampire, so you gotta service those fans as well. Thus, Queen of the Damned becomes this collision between 2 very derivative styles that really don't belong together. It's barely a sequel that doesn't even acknowledge the events of the last film, and yet it is the worst kind of sequel, one that appropriates only the most surface-level elements of its predecessor, while opting instead to try to fill the zeitgeist of the time. But maybe that's a bit deep for a guy dressed as a pro wrestler. Let's check out Queen of the Damned. The film opens on statues. Sure hope they don't not move at me. Well, you guys, rock on. I will tell shitty puns and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Then the film opens on narration, the least creative way to convey information. Interview with a Vampire was, an interview, so it had an excuse to use narration. This film is just lazy.
Immortality seems like a good idea, until you realize you're going to spend it alone.
That's what happens when you push away your beautiful husband and daughter with your shitty behavior, Lestat. So, in a state of boredom, Lestat goes to sleep for 200 years. Wait, vampires can sleep as long as they choose to? Here, vampires,
Fresh blood.
But he's awoken by the sounds of metal. And here's another place where the long wait hurt this movie. The book was written in the 80s when metal was, good. This film came out in the early 2000s, the lowest point in metal history.
In 1985, metal sounded like this. By 2002, it sounded like this. Shitty, moody nu metal. And the whole film follows that tone.
Then again, the Wikipedia plot description doesn't even mention rock music, so it might be unique to the film. But fuck if I'm actually gonna read the book to find out.
This is, actually the Vampire Armand. I, did intend to read The Vampire Lestat, but despite our library's website claiming it's available, I talked to a librarian and it's been missing since 1998, before this movie even came out.
So Lestat returns to become a rock star, and we get the origin story of that guy with the dreadlocks from Twilight. You guys seen Evil Dead? 'Cause the director of Queen of the Damned sure has. Woof, and I thought Cruise's Lestat was gay.
Who the hell are you, man?
I don't know why Interview was the one that got nominations. That performance was Oscar-worthy.
The question provoked an irresistible urge. I am the Vampire Lestat.
This whole exchange is laughably awkward. Just imagine this without narration.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am the Vampire Lestat.
Vampire. That's funny.
Indeed.
I'm over it. You see, I'm falling in love.
Oh my god, this song sounds like a parody of awful nu metal songs. Didn't we already get opening credits? I do dig the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari reference, but weren't you asleep when that film came out? Anyways, during the fucking credits, Lestat's band gets huge because of his persona as a vampire.
Could you prove it? Give us a demonstration of your powers.
If you like, I can give you a private demonstration in your hotel room tonight.
That is definitely sexual harassment. Or a death threat. Or both.
But Lestat reveals he's putting vampire secrets in his songs to try to get attention from his old friends.
Do you have anything else to say to the other vampires listening out there?
As a matter of fact, I do. Come out, wherever you are.
Anne Rice has said the vampires in her books are allegorical for homosexuals, so kind of changes the context of that line.
Lestat has some girls over and decides Blade isn't enough, he's gotta ape Spider-Man as well. Anyway, then Lestat calls out to a girl named Jessie, an orphan who owns a lot of dolls. Kind of like Lestat's daughter who hated him and tried to kill him. Kinda too late to start being a good father now, isn't it?
I'm getting really indignant about a movie that is not even canon to this one.
Her mom abandoned her because... vampire? That's the implication, but it barely ties into anything in the plot. Jessie, meanwhile, works for the Talamasca Paranormal Research Facility, which means in real life she'd be a crackpot, but in this movie, what do you know, she's right.
Like everyone else, I assumed Lestat was a joke. A rock star with a gimmick. But then one of the phrases in one of his lyrics caught my attention.
Because they were really bad. Actually, Lestat revealed the location of an old pub where many people would mysteriously disappear. There's a club still standing, and Jessie suspects it to be a coven of vampires.
It's a vampire coven, and Lestat is leading us to it.
Is a group of vampires a coven? I thought that was witches. It could be both.
Who took this picture?
I did.
You're still an apprentice. You don't do field work.
Yeah, how dare you take a picture?
We record and observe, but never interfere.
That's why the werewolves took over the US government in the 80s. We could have stopped them, but we don't interfere. Then we get something of an origin story for Lestat, though it's basically what you'd expect. He's a prince in the 1700s and a vampire bites him. He begins teaching Lestat how to use his powers, including this weird line.
When you feed, you must hold back from the moment of death. You must never take the last drop, or it will draw you in and you will die.
I don't know why, that just seems like a weirdly specific thing. Like maybe it's going to tie back into the plot later. He also tells Lestat he can never be known by the world. Advice he takes to heart by immediately playing fiddle with some gypsies and scaring the hell out of them.
Go!
But while fucking around, Lestat discovers a secret passage to the tomb of the original vampires. Much less moody. This music, I guess, is good enough that the statue of Akasha, the vampire queen, offers her wrist, which has blood in it, and Lestat drinks it, which makes him see all of vampire history. Wonderful. He goes a little crazy after this, and I think this is supposed to explain why he's so eccentric.
And I'm gonna make another callback to Interview with a Vampire. I promise this is the last one.
Tom Cruise is a vastly superior Lestat. Ignore for a second that A-list celebrity and 3-time Oscar nominee Tom Cruise is a better actor than anyone in Queen of the Damned. He's just better in the role. Lestat is very eccentric, a little egocentric, borderline crazy, and you kinda get the sense he might be gay. He is Tom Cruise in vampire form. Townsend is trying, but he always comes across as overconfident, in a way I don't think the character was intended to be. Imagine a world where Warner Brothers cared enough to strike while the iron was hot and made a version of this film equivalent to Interview with a Vampire. And look, Interview is not a perfect movie. It's not even a very good movie. It's really goofy, but it's so much more fun and interesting than this moody garbage. Sorry, where were we?
Oh, the editing sucks.
The next shot is basically the same thing. It faded in and out for no reason. That's a mistake I would make and not realize till I've exported. And this movie made it through production, test screenings, theaters, home video, and on to Netflix, and no one said, hey, this shot looks awkward. But because Alicia picked Lestat and not his master, Marius, he packs up and leaves with the statues, which seems quite hard to do. Back in the present, Jessie decides she wants to check out that vampire club, and the security is fucking awful. Seriously? It's a wonder she's the first person to get in this place. Or fuck, maybe she isn't. Maybe they're fine with people getting in so they can eat them.
Or maybe I'm giving the film too much credit.
I don't see any marks.
Well, you haven't seen the rest of my body.
Is that an invitation?
Sorry, I'm taken.
Yeah, man, she's dating Paul fucking Rudd. Anyway, they try to drink her blood because how did you think this was gonna end? But Lestat saves her. Oh god. I made a promise, so I won't mention some other movie that was highly praised for its makeup, but I will instead point to earlier this same movie where the makeup looked better.
Your song Redeemer, it's about the girl with the violin, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it?
Is it?
Stop trying to be moody and mysterious. You're not moody and mysterious.
Don't worry, Jesse. Your kind never satisfies my thirst.
I don't like the way he said, your kind. Oh, and Lestat still has the violin. Wasn't this movie about a metal band an hour ago? So, against her boss's wishes, Jessie goes to America to see Lestat's concert. You are an awful employee and they should absolutely fire you, but for some reason they won't.
The city of lost angels already fed on the blood of youth. My presence here barely stirred a ripple.
Clever.
But who should show up but Mario, the vampire who turned Lestat? Except, earlier they said he was an ancient and...
There aren't any ancients left.
He's less than thrilled that Lestat is revealing a bunch of vampire secrets, but Lestat says it's the glory he always wanted. And what do you know, it seems Lestat's music has awoken the Queen. But he likes the Queen, so it doesn't bother him that much. And here, nearly an hour into Queen of the Damned, the Queen of the Damned actually does something. I said this film was based on 2 books, The Vampire Lestat and Queen of the Damned. One of these titles actually applies to this movie, the other just sounds cooler. She shows up to the vampire bar and gets the looks you'd expect people who haven't seen the sun in 200 years to give a black person. Maybe they're just shocked at her Princess Leia bikini. Scandalous. Then she rips off this dude's testicles. Nice. Well, probably because there's a hot vampire chick running around in a skimpy outfit. She sets fire to everyone in the place for threatening Lestat, then goes out to find him. Whoa, everything is getting harder. Oh, it's his leg. I guess Lestat just really liked the cable guy. And geez, I thought Jessie was here for research, but no, she clearly came to party. She conveniently gets picked up by Lestat's limo when his manager is out cruising for tail. What are the odds? Guys, this girl who's supposed to be wearing makeup looks exactly like your characters who are actually vampires.
Who?
That's ghosts, idiot. No, I mean your music sucks. Boo!
London?
A London goth.
Ha! Goth! Let's overthrow the oppressive Roman Empire once and for all. Oh wait, there were no Goths in Britain.
Jessie returns Lestat's vampire diary and asks to become a vampire herself.
You know, for science. Look, I just want to not die of liver failure in my 30s.
It's kind of hard to tell at first because of the cheesy editing, but he clearly flew her around the city. Guess the awkward editing was necessary or it'd look like this. But Lestat gets all moon-eyed, thinking about how precious it is being mortal.
You're beautiful to me because you're human. Your frailty. Your short years.
Fuck off, Lestat. Give me that good immortality shit.
Then, despite her begging, Lestat goes and bites some other girl. Dick move.
Wait, what was that? Oh, I wanted to avoid this.
Yeah, Lestat got Disturbed to open for him, and they played the Disturbed song that every fucking edgy movie in the early aughts played. There are worse songs, but there are also much better songs. Pfft, Kiss can do that. And is he wearing a fucking mesh shirt? Listen, it is never acceptable to wear a mesh shirt.
Waiting alone without a care.
Next.
I should probably add here that Lestat's singing voice was provided by Jonathan Davis of Korn, so I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get any scat in this movie.
No.
But here comes the vampires, and his band just fucking bolts. What are you doing? This is the best thing that's happened at this concert yet. And look who showed up just in time. Only the title fucking character.
Gotta love that entrance, though.
So, with the remaining half hour of the film, Ariana, or whatever her name was, takes Lestat and tries to start a new vampire kingdom.
You're bold, like your music.
While I agree he is a lot like his music, bold is not the word I would use.
And Alicia sure has a sexy voice, doesn't she?
All your wishes have come true.
My wishes.
For a companion. To share eternity.
Aaliyah, the singer who plays Akasha, died in a plane crash not long after filming. A tragic loss, if I'm being honest. But allow me to lighten the mood with this anecdote. She died before they could get her back in for re-recordings, so her voice is dubbed over by her brother, Michael Reimer, pitch shifted to sound like a woman. I couldn't make this shit up. Ooh, kinky.
Anyways, they go to some vampire's garden, and somehow Jessie is there too, and she meets her mom.
And Margaret.
I'm sorry, her aunt.
That's the only line indicating that that's not her mother. I've seen this film before, and I thought that was her mother up until right now. And in fact, why isn't it her mother? Where's her mother? Why couldn't that just be her mother?
When your parents died, I brought you here to take care of you.
She died. Great exposition. Lestat awakes to find he can go into the sunlight.
So he started a shitty metal band, and from that got a hot vampire girlfriend, became one of the most powerful vampires ever, and is now even more immortal than he was before. Hey, other Matt, you want to start a metal band? I know the piano part from Closing Time. Hit me up after this episode.
Behold our kingdom.
Kingdom of corpses?
Now that's the title of a metal song. Fuck your moody bullshit. Now all the vamps gather to fight Akira.
Join me or die.
I will not. I will not.
I will not. I will not.
I will.
The queen demands Lestat kill Jessie, so he does. This sure is a thrilling climax. And Lestat's maybe not as on board with this as he seems, as he sucks more of Anastasia's blood than she wants him to, giving everyone else time to attack.
Oh no, not that character.
But soon everyone's drinking the royal blood. But don't forget, if you drink the last drop, you die, and Lestat craves death. So of course he lets Aunt May step in and take the last bit of blood.
You set it up perfectly. It was a thematically appropriate ending. I was going to give you so much credit, and you blew it. You fucked it up right at the last second.
Aunt May turns to stone. I sure will miss that character who got 2 scenes in this movie. And Lestat saves Jessie by turning her into a vampire. And the two live happily ever after. The end.
So that's Queen of the Damned. I should have reviewed Rockula.
It's not bad in the way most films I review in this channel are, but it's just interminably lame. The performances generally aren't terrible, barring the girl playing Jessie who just isn't trying. Everyone else is just wholly unremarkable. The story is lame, and it's just really obvious how quickly they shit this out. There are some cool stylistic things, but all of it's been done much better in better movies, including and especially the film this is supposed to be a sequel to. Also, the metal band feels more or less irrelevant to the plot, and the music sucks.
Man, if only there were an aesthetically similar movie, but one much more popular, and also one much funnier that I could review. Maybe even one with a 10th anniversary coming up next month, but until I think of one, I'm Matt, and this is Matt's Fun Time Bad Movie Show.
How did you manage to slip through the 50s in red velvet?
I slept.
Don't think you missed much.
Elvis?
Elvis, yes.
For those of you disappointed I didn't drink a soda at the beginning of the video. Sorry, I left the bottle in my room and it wasn't worth my time to come back and get. Also, the costume is from They Live, you uncultured swine.